I just wrapped up 2 more days of exploration in Washington, D.C. I had to go there again because it's our nation's 250th birthday, and frankly, it would take months to do this place justice. People from all across the world are flocking to see the city's sights. We have spent a total of 7 days there to see some of the most phenomenal places imaginable. This city is an endless treasure box. To give you an inside plunge, I want to show off 250 iconic things, from monuments and memorials, statues, views, architecture and design, art and photos, flora, animals, food, documents, transportation, one and only history makers, famous government buildings, waterscapes, museums and tours, and prized private places that will satisfy the curious and encourage those with Washington, D.C. on their bucket list to get there without delay. One and only history makers, Dorothy's Ruby Slippers, Archie and Edith Bunker's living room chairs, a Gutenberg Bible, Evel Knievel's Harley-Davidson motorcycle, the stopwatch from 60 Minutes, fabric from Francis Scott Key's Star-Spangled Banner, the yellow ribbon tied around that old oak tree, and Carl Sagan's album To the Universe, Sherman's uniform hat, and I Can't Breathe moment for me, a Huey from Vietnam, First Lady Melania's inaugural gown, the hat Lincoln was wearing when he was assassinated, a fragment of Plymouth Rock, which I have seen what is left of the rock over in Plymouth, Thomas Jefferson's desk. This is a time capsule opened by President Ford at the bicentennial, Edison's incandescent light bulb, a tiara given by Napoleon to his wife, a map of the seas from the 1600s, the original clock hands to the clock tower at the old post office, Mary Todd Lincoln's china, one of the pillows placed under Lincoln's bleeding head at the Peterson House, a Texas-sized Lucchese cowboy boot, outfits worn by the navigator Amelia Earhart, a gondola that went to the stratosphere, a rare Wright bicycle, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's necklace. Her grave is at Arlington. The actual vault door to the old post office. Lightning rods from atop the Washington Monument. I gotta add, the Smithsonian Castle is undergoing a ginormous restoration project and has already been closed for years. Yet, in honor of the nation's 250th birthday, the door swung open, revealing an invaluable collection cloaked in a spacious, dark room. Do you know how thrilled I was that we caught this magic window of time? Now, monuments and memorials. The Pentagon 9/11 Memorial, Arlington National Cemetery, and the tomb of the unknown soldier. Across the National Mall toward the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one of the newest additions, the Eisenhower Memorial, the heart-wrenching Vietnam Memorial. Moving on to statues, which are almost on every corner and in every foyer. Supreme Court Justice John Marshall, William Tecumseh Sherman, Robert Taft against a Carillon, Old Hickory, that's Colonel Andrew Jackson, Larger Than Life, Einstein, Brothers in Arms, Martin Luther King Jr., George Washington inside the Washington Monument, the immortal John Paul Jones, Charles Darwin, Padre Junipero Serra, and other representatives of the 50 states in Statuary Hall, which is not entirely accurate. The true polymath and first postmaster, Benjamin Franklin. The forgotten founder, George Mason. Ulysses S. Grant. A woman gracing the Library of Congress Hall. Prologue at the National Archives. President William Howard Taft, the only man to serve as both President and Supreme Court Justice. The Wright brothers. Other representatives of the states in the halls of the Capitol. They are literally everywhere in there. Let's move on to architecture and design where D.C. shines. The Smithsonian Castle. Union Station. The Library of Congress. The arch from the birdhouse at the National Zoo. The spiral cantilever staircase in the Supreme Court building. The old post office tower. Memorial Continental Hall. The ladies' room at the Waldorf Astoria. Classy, right? The city's oldest bank. Constitution Hall. The Summer House. Lights and fountains decorating the Capitol grounds. And the reading room at the Library of Congress. The worth-repeating masterpiece, Jefferson Memorial. Now, let's look at the natural, beautiful flora found throughout the city. Over the mysterious Smithsonian Underground is the Hop Garden, the United States Botanic Garden, and flora at points around the city. Plus, who can miss the historic cherry trees at the tidal basin? They were gifted from Japan. Water always charms, therefore the city has pools and fountains to create calming places to reflect not only the structures reflecting in the water, but on the power the city holds. From the tidal basin to the Capitol reflecting pool and war memorials enhanced by the draw of water. Animals can also be found at the Smithsonian's National Zoo, preserved in the Natural History Museum, and the horsemen of the National Park Police. We found Oni at the Postal Museum. Multiple people tagged him as he worked years on the mail line. You will build up an appetite, and the fare ranges from learning about what presidents favored while you visit the White House Visitor Center to a coffee shop owned by a budding entrepreneur in the legislature office building, an overpriced lunch at the Waldorf Astoria, 2 hot dogs cooked in a food truck along the west side of the Ellipse, and dining at Old Ebbitt Grill, where many famous men of the past have graced the tavern back in the day. A to-go latte and scone while waiting for timed entries is also in order. Documents. The words sealed on paper that hold the past. Letters to a mother. And another I can't breathe moment, seeing Thomas Jefferson's library at the Library of Congress. Just outside there, Washington's personal copy of the Declaration of Independence for your eyes to see. Showstoppers in the reading room. Irving Berlin's sheet music of the classic God Bless America. And then there's the Japanese surrender papers at World War II. The original Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution are waiting to be seen at the National Archives, along with the Magna Carta. Can it get any better? How else to label but calling these prized special places? Old Ebbitt Grill. Can you believe you have been where these men boarded? Stand at the former desk locations of these 8 U.S. House of Representative members. What do they all have in common? Tell me in the comments. These plaques are found in the floor of the Capitol. Walk into St. John's Church, where every president since Madison has graced the doors. You won't be able to breathe when you step into Ford's Theater and see the box where Lincoln's life was taken. The White House, the home of our president. One of the most fun things about exploration is transportation. How to enter, navigate, and explore. We prefer using the subway, which is economical and quick. You will see guided, public, and official transportation as you wander around the city. We found a life-size version of the White River Junction Woodstock mail delivery stagecoach. Lindbergh's actual plane. The quality presentations at the government and Smithsonian institutions are simply mind-boggling. Art and old photographs abound in the museums and structures. Famous paintings hang in the halls of the National Archives, American History Museum, National Park Service Museum, Library of Congress, and the Capitol Rotunda, Supreme Court, Old Post Office Tower, and frankly, almost everywhere. We are about to hit 250. I'm scratching the surface, but in a very deep way. You have to be intrigued and dumbfounded all at the same time. Here are famous government buildings where official federal business takes place. The FBI headquarters, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Supreme Court courtroom, Eisenhower Executive Office Building, Department of Health and Human Services, the Pentagon, the Bureau of Engraving, Russell Senate Office Building, Cannon House Office Building, the National Archives, the Treasury Department, the U.S. House of Representatives at the Capitol, and the U.S. Capitol. Museums and tours abound. See the Wright brothers' airplanes. The White House Visitor Center is filled with memorabilia. The Postal Museum is a hidden treasure that we toured on our 5th day, and I look forward to sharing what all we saw there. Incredible is one adjective. The National Museum of American History will overwhelm even the least interested visitor. There's not enough time to take in what these floors hold. The Smithsonian Air and Space Museum is a favorite of every D.C. visitor. The National Museum of Natural History holds jewels to mummies. See the best views of D.C. from the old post office clock tower, and never consider missing a tour inside the U.S. Capitol. We've done it twice, and each visit there was quite different. Keep quiet. In the Supreme Court building. There's lots to see there. Views have been challenging for us in both our time at the top of the Washington Monument and 2 rides up the old post office clock tower. But the fog and rain added a dimension to the scenes that are unexplainable and purposefully surreal. The model of freedom in the Capitol Emancipation Hall is iconic and towering. Gaze at her atop the Capitol for sure. Flip-flops. and ugly shoes on the ground taking you on a 250 tour this especially special year in our nation's history. I encourage you to go to my history playlist and take a deep dive into my previous videos detailing the passion and the dynamics the city presents to its welcomed guests. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell because over the course of the next few weeks, I will be uploading more detailed videos from our days 5 and 6 to Washington, D.C. Share this video with fellow Americans and happy 4th of July. Thank you for watching Unclassic Road Trip to our nation's capital.